The WNBA draft is in the rear view mirror as it happened last night, and there are a lot of exciting prospects in the future generation of the WNBA to have come out of it. I want to heavily focus on the Fever's 19, 20, and 33 picks. I will give a quick overview of what happened yesterday in the draft. So let's get into it. So it is an exciting time as there is a lot of basketball to get right back into, because this offseason I found myself making kind of weird videos and that I never thought I would make, but I am so excited to get back to basketball talk. And the WNBA draft happened last night with their 3 rounds, and here's how it went down. You might be shocked to know that Paige Bueckers went number 1, and you also might not be if you are not living under a rock. But one of the more recent, exciting prospects to come out of this draft is Dominique Malonga going at number 2, who hails at 6'6". She can dunk. And honestly, I don't think people really knew she was considering coming for the draft until about a week ago. And then everybody started talking about Dominique Malonga. And she is 19 years old. She has such a high ceiling. She does have a lot to learn about coming into the W, and being at such a young age, she might not be the most refined player at the time, but she has the most upside of almost anybody coming out of this draft. And just looking at the list here, we have Sonia Citron going number 3. Very solid pick for the Washington Mystics. Kiki Iriafen went number 4, who, by the way, wore the best ball gown, the best dressed at the draft yesterday. She worked with a Nigerian designer, was very hands-on in the design, and just wanted to showcase. She is Nigerian, so she wanted to showcase a lot of her culture in the dress, and definitely made it a point to call her out multiple times and give Nneka Alexander her flowers. And the number 5 pick, the Valkyries chose another EuroLeague player, which kind of confused me because they have so many already, and it makes me wonder if they are tanking for the next season for 2026, and if these players are even going to be able to come because of the prioritization rules that the WNBA has, because the seasons overlap a little bit and the WNBA doesn't like that. So a lot of the players from the Golden State Valkyries will not be able to come over and start for the WNBA season. So I don't know if they're going to forfeit games. I don't know what the deal is. I have to look into this a little more, but this is an exciting prospect. She is very young. She also has a lot of upside, but I'm very curious about their strategy here. So Georgia Amor went number 6 to the Washington Mystics. I was a little surprised by that, but she carried Kentucky on her back last season, and especially at being 5'6", she showed true grit in her style of play, and she's a point guard. Anissa Morrow went number 7. Sanaya Rivers, number 8. Sarah Ashley Barker, kind of a steal at number 9 for the Sparks. Aisha Sivka went number 10 for the Chicago Sky. Really good pick. Hailey Van Lith went number 11, which I think was partially a culture pick or an aesthetic pick, because Hailey Van Lith's brand is just one of the highest coming out of college, and I think can definitely balance a lot of the way that the Chicago Sky is viewed. And with Sloot being their main point guard, I see that bringing Hailey Van Lith in and maybe having her ride the bench and learning from Sloot as a backup point guard, even though I don't necessarily think Hailey Van Lith is the best point guard. I think that she also is somebody that has a lot of grit and a lot of heart, and she played her heart out getting TCU to the Elite 8. But the first thing I thought of when Hailey Van Lith's name was called to the to the Chicago Sky, was her run with Angel Reese at LSU and how that just did not work out for her at all. She ended up transferring out of LSU and over to TCU. But Angel has been very vocal in supporting Hailey Van Lith all through her college season, and posted that they didn't do it right the first time, so they need to run it back. So the hope is that they learned from the mistakes that were made at LSU, as Hailey Van Lith is pretty much notorious for getting cooked by Caitlin Clark in one of their games. So Isaiah James goes number 12 to the Dallas Wings. Aaliyah Nye, very surprising pick for the Aces at number 13. Then let's go down to Maddie Westbeld, going to Chicago Sky at number 16, Cheyenne Sellers to the Valkyries. And I am so surprised that Tahina Paopao went number 18. I would have thought she would have gone before Hailey Van Lith, but she went, and even Georgia Amore, but she went number 18 over to the Atlanta Dream. And now, for the number 19 pick in the WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Mikayla Timpson. And this is kind of exciting, but really quick, at number 20, they also picked Bree Hall, and at number 33, they picked a player that I actually have never watched play. I have to admit, I never saw a Gazanga game last season, but they chose, I think her name is Yvonne Ejim, or I really don't know how to say it. I apologize, and you know what? I did not watch any Gazanga games, so I can't even talk to her style of play like I can with Bree Hall and Mikayla Timpson. Now, Mikayla Timpson was pretty excited when she heard her name called as she was sitting at home with her family, and they all got super stoked and just were cheering.
The 2025 WNBA draft is in. The Indiana Fever selecting Mikayla Timpson.
And the Indiana Fever were releasing videos during the WNBA draft of what was going on, and it kind of reminded me of that movie Moneyball, where Brad Pitt was in the room, they were making all these draft decisions last minute. And here's the video.
The Fever select Mikayla Timpson, Florida State. Mikayla Timpson, Florida State. Let's go!
Thank you, Indiana.
Are you ready to the Jesus? Let's go!
And Bree Hall was also home with her family watching and got super excited as her name got called to number 20 for the Indiana Fever. Now, I would have thought, since the Indiana Fever does only have cap space to start the season with one player, that whoever might get called, I was thinking, if I was a rookie going into the WNBA draft, I wouldn't want to be called by the Indiana Fever just because my chances of making the team are a lot slimmer than if I had gotten called by another team. And the reason being is because the Indiana Fever have Jaylen Brown and Jillian Aileen, two WNBA vets, already signed to training camp contracts. And with the addition of these 3 other rookies, that is 5 people battling it out for one spot on the roster. And to be honest, until Mikayla Timpson's name was called, I didn't think it was a pretty high percentage that any of the rookies would actually make the team going up against these WNBA vets. Granted, Jaylen Brown and Jillian Aileen have been having some struggles in the WNBA, and Jaylen Brown has not been playing very well overseas. That being said, they still have had years to build up their physique, to get used to the physicality of the WNBA, to get used to how people play in the WNBA, so they do have a little bit of an edge over an incoming rookie who has never been in the professional level playing field. But I did catch a couple of Florida State games, and what stood out to me watching those games was, of course, Tanaya Latson, who is a bucket, but she is staying for one more year in college, did not come out for the draft, and Mikayla Timpson. I was so pleasantly surprised and impressed by Mikayla Timpson. And if you aren't aware, the Indiana Fever have definitely decided to add some defense into their team on the roster this season because, as many of you know, defense wasn't exactly their forte last season, as they were ranked second to last in defense in the entire league. And while they did add some awesome veteran presence in that area, I think that Mikayla Timpson just might be a look into the future, and Bree Hall as well, a look into the future of maybe some sort of sustainability, maybe keeping a rookie at a low cap space for when the CBA changes, these salaries are going to go up. And Mikayla Timpson was the only college athlete to average over 15 points, over 10 rebounds, and over 3 blocks per game at all. And Rebecca Lobo, who has been quite the trend forecaster from some of the things she has said about rookies coming into the league in the past, as she called out Caitlin Clark Caitlin Clark's name definitely being able to translate into the WNBA when we know that a lot of people weren't necessarily of the same mindset. And she, called her dominance. And this is what Rebecca Lobo had to say when Mikayla Timpson's name was called by the Indiana Fever. She mentioned she is a rim runner, she is a rim protector, she is quick, and she can get those offensive boards, and that she has a great chance to make the team. And I would have thought, and I have been saying that it is going to be hard for any incoming rookie to make this cut, but as soon as Timpson's name was called, I don't think that the Indiana Fever actually knew Mikayla Timpson would be available at 19. I think that they thought that she would probably get taken from someone else and then made this last minute decision in that call. But Mikayla Timpson is definitely a steal for the Indiana Fever. I saw that they had posted this about her, that Mikayla Timpson was selected 19th overall. The 6'2" forward out of Florida State boasts a 6'10" wingspan, which is pretty impressive. She wrapped up her career as the women's basketball all-time leader in double-doubles and notched 47 over her career. That's kind of a flex. And this is what Amber Cox had to say. Mikayla Timpson is someone that we had really high on our draft board, so when she fell to us at 19, we were thrilled. And you know what? I hadn't read this yet, so again, I could see them not having seen her drop to number 19. She was the only player to average a double-double in points and rebounds, then 3 blocks a game. Incredible wingspan at 6'10", a defensive powerhouse. And you know what? Natasha Howard also hails from Florida State, and I think she could definitely mentor Mikayla Timpson. I mean, just check out some of these plays she made. Now, moving over to Bree Hall, this was the call that Amber Cox, Kelly Krauskopf made, FaceTime call to Bree Hall, welcoming her to the Indiana Fever.
Hey! What's up, Bree?
Hello.
Hey, welcome to Indiana.
Thank you. I'm ready to work. I'm excited.
Let's go. We're excited. We're so excited to have you. It's been so great getting to know you. So impressed by everything you did on the court, and just great getting to know you over the last few days, and just feel like you're a great fit for our roster and look forward to having you here in a week.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited. Thank you again.
See you soon. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch.
And Bree Hall has played with Leah Boston. She posted being so excited to see her fellow Gamecock added to the roster as of now. And this is what the Indiana Fever had to say about their draft of Bree Hall. Indiana Fever added Bree Hall, number 20, another guard that stands 6 feet tall and comes from a storied background. She has 4 Final Fours and 2 national championships. She shared the court in 2021 to 2023 with Aaliyah Boston, and they won a national title together in 2021. She is known for her defensive ability. She is an elite defender, Staley said. The things that she does, the people that she has to guard. In my 25 years of coaching, she is on my all-time defensive team. And if you watch the Final Four, this last NCAA round, you might remember Bree Hall from such trips as...
And look at Dawn's on it right away. Yeah, Bree.
That was just really funny after she drills a 3, and it kind of shows just her personality, getting up and laughing it off. But unless Aaliyah Boston has some real sway in the situation, which I'm sure she would definitely go to bat for her Gamecock teammate, I don't necessarily see her beating out Mikayla Timpson for that final roster spot. Oh, and I forgot to mention Mikayla Timpson's position. She is like a power forward, very, very similar to like a Natasha Howard. And while I don't know a lot about their 33rd pick, this is what the Indiana Fever did have to say about her. She is a versatile player, great face-up game, and brings just different looks to that post when you're thinking about somebody who can play back to the basket. Really high motor, defense really, really well. So again, the name of the game here tonight is to continue to shore up defense. I see a theme, people. And she was the women's college basketball back-to-back reigning player of the year and defensive player of the year. She won each of these awards both in 2024 and 2025. So she brings international experience to Indiana's squad as a member of the 2024 Canadian Olympic team. And another exciting thing that came out of the draft yesterday was Lucy Olsen going 23 to the Washington Mystics. The Mystics had a plethora of picks in this draft as they acquired a lot of picks in a lot of trades, and she was drafted with Sonia Citron, Kiki Iriefin, Georgia Amor, so there will be some battling it out in training camp for those final roster spots. But Lucy Olsen comes with a big fan base. I was looking on Twitter at their announcements, and Lucy Olsen has the most likes of all of the people that were announced. So this might be something that the Washington Mystics heavily consider, as they are one of the teams that doesn't have a big fan base, to be completely frank. And Lucy Olsen, hailing from Iowa as a former Hawkeye, would bring the heart of the Midwest to the Washington, D.C. team, the Mystics. And not to mention, she is gritty. She has a stellar pull-up midi. She can play two-way, and for a guard, that is something that people are going to be looking at. I am just so happy that we are getting back to some real basketball talk, and in case you haven't noticed, I did actually just recently, I thought I had before, but YouTube did not approve my memberships, but I have now added memberships to my channel, so if you are so inclined, feel free to join. It is a minimal, I think $3.99 a month or something like that. Those types of things really help, along with any likes or any comments. I really do get into the comments. I really do appreciate all of the feedback that I get. And I did want to ask you guys if you would be interested in me going live to talk about the Indiana Fever games, because this is an Indiana Fever centric channel, but I do watch all the games. So if you would be interested in me going live afterwards, and I can probably take any like comments and we can go back and forth in the super chats. That's something you get as a member. You get like super chats, and I can call them out. We can discuss them. I would also be going over other big games in the WNBA, but that would not diminish me making videos. But I am just like kind of getting a temperature reading and asking you guys. And I hope you are as excited as I am for this incoming season to start. I'm excited for training camp to start in a couple weeks, where there will be lots of content coming out. We'll get a lot of updates on these players, see who makes the final rosters, and basically just get down to the nitty-gritty of the wide world of women's basketball. But thanks for watching the video, and I will see you next time.